All right, we're back here for match two. His hand seems fine. Uh, we're missing black mana. Black mana is our least important color. I think this is a fine keep. And we can always just like draw Spire Bluff Canal or something on turn one. It kind of fixes all of our problems. Opponent plays Island. And Port Town. Alright, so we're probably playing against blue-white. Glad to have all these Harness Lightnings. And we're going to need a mountain. And Painful Truth is a pretty good draw. We need to find black. Hopefully he doesn't have exactly Selfless Spirit. Selfless Spirit would be pretty good here. Because then he actually gets to hit us with the Copter. And he does have Selfless Spirit. I'm still going to target the Copter just in case he misplays. And I guess also this way we get some energy. We don't really use excess energy very well. We're not, like, it's not like we're going to be Harness Lightning something for 6 or whatever. These do tend to be, like, some of our tougher matchups. But it's definitely winnable. Like, there's a chance all he has is Gideon here. Yeah, we get to kind of get a nice play off here. Rebuffing that. It's pretty good. Really want to draw land. Didn't draw land. Kind of unfortunate. But if we weren't going to draw land, Void Shatter was probably the best thing that we could draw. So he's probably got Avacyn here. It's reasonable to think anytime that your white opponent passes with 5 mana up that they have Avacyn. And we're going to kill this with the trigger on the stack. Because the Void Shatter is a little more versatile than the Harness Lightning, even though the Harness Lightning costs a little less mana. And hope that he doesn't have anything too great here. If he has Gideon, yeah, which he does. Yeah, this is pretty much just a not draw, so we could be in trouble here. Also, I like this matchup a lot more at post board. Still really need lands. Alright, that's not bad. The problem we're going to have is it's going to be really hard for us to ever kill this Gideon if we don't draw Radiant Flames. Radiant Flames can help us kill the Gideon because we'll have Gear Hulk in play and then cast Radiant Flames and attack the Gideon. Sorry, my phone's going off. I should have turned that off before I started. It's possible that our opponent is kind of worried about the Wandering Fumarole hitting the Gideon. This is probably going to have to be something good for me to actually fire off Void Shatter on it. I really want to cast Glimmer. That's like pretty much the most medium thing ever. Oh, he's got Spell Queller. Okay. Yeah, we're probably dead here. We're probably going to lose this game. I'm trying to think of what we could do. I think I'd rather have my Glimmer trapped under a Spell Queller than my Void Shatter. So I'm just going to let that resolve. I guess it is. It's like theoretically possible that he doesn't have a spell queller, but it, I don't know why else he would leave up this kind of mana. So yeah, we're pretty much just dead here. Another copter is also pretty awesome for him. Yeah, I don't think we actually have outs here. This draw's just too good, and we were a little clunky. We missed a land drop, and well, I would really like to take the essence extraction, but can't cast it. Did find our swamp pretty late for that. I'm just gonna show this to him too, so hopefully he's gonna make some bad decisions based on the fact that we have black mana in our deck. The blue white deck, I do like the blue white deck when you draw a copter. When you don't draw a copter, this egg it just floods out way too easily because it has like 26 lands in it, and it's also got like 1 drops, and yeah, like these kind of draws make it look super impressive where we're just like copter into selfless spirit into Gideon into Avacyn into Gideon and plus a 2 drop and stuff. Like those draws make this deck look great, but some of the time they just draw like, you know, if you just remove the copter from this draw, then he's done nothing that has any kind of impact on the game so far. All he's done is play Selfless Spirit and 2 4-mana Planeswalkers. I'm fine with him just doing whatever he wants to do here. I've already conceded this game. I just want to see how he likes to play these kinds of spots. Like it is pretty relevant to know that he's not activating a Gideon here, and I guess I would have to have 3 removal spells for this to matter, but and I don't. So all 4 copters. Well, hopefully he use up all of his drawings of copters this game. Doesn't draw any in the other 2. Alright, so for sideboarding, we definitely don't want Summary Dismissal or Confirm. We definitely want the Weavers, the Tears of Valakut, and then we can actually cut like at least 1 Painful Truths here. I don't really love going below 2, just because it is like, it's just kind of the best card ever. I normally do Shave Void Shatters. The biggest thing that we want to Void Shatter is the is Gideon, which Negate can hit. And against blue white, like it's just important to have a ton of removal. Removal is just great against that deck. Because like I said, if Copter isn't hitting you, this deck's pretty unimpressive. And if Copter is hitting you, you're pretty dead. I'm just going to go down to 1 Void Shatter and 2 Negates. I do still kind of like the versatility of this to be able to counter Avacyn. We have a lot of ways to kill Avacyn, but it's still like, you kind of need like a critical mass of answers to it. I do not like bringing in Transgress against, because they only have 8 cards that you actually want to hit with this. In Gideon and Avacyn, they only have 12 cards in the whole deck. Sometimes they board in Spell Shrivel, but I prefer that they do that. I think that really what they want to do from their side is just kind of try to have their really good draws as often as possible, which is like Thraben Inspector into Copter into, you know, another threat. This hand's pretty good. We're gonna have all our colors online, and we do have a bunch of removal, which is, like I said, that's pretty much the best thing you can have against these decks. Is just against blue white, just have a bunch of removal. That's a really good draw too. What would be really nice is if you played something other than Copter here, so you can harness Lightning it, and then untap and cast Painful Truths on an empty board before he can get off Gideon. There's some chance he has rebuff. And we're going to have to discard a hand size if we cast his Painful Truths. So I'm not sure if it's really worth it. But also, like I said before in the deck tech part, is that this is not good against Spell Queller. Converge just as a thing is super bad against Spell Queller. But I think I can still just kind of sit on my heels here. That seems fine. It wouldn't surprise me if the right play there was to just slam Painful Truths and then discard. But I would like to get a card out of my hand first. Because discarding hand size sucks, you know, and a lot of times you end up discarding redundant draw spells. If he plays Spell Queller here, I'm fine with that. I'm definitely reading him for Spell Queller now, and I'm going to be cool with it if he wants to Spell Queller my Glimmer, which is like a pretty likely outcome for the end of this turn. I don't have any answers to Gideon, but he really can't afford to just like jam Gideon like that. Oh, he has Negate. Alright. Oh, now I can play Painful Truths, and he's going to have another Negate. I probably shouldn't have played my land. That was probably a mistake. Because it'd be good if I drew a... He does have another Negate. It'd be good if I drew a red source off of the Painful Truths. This is all pretty straightforward stuff here. I don't like Westvale Abbey. I don't normally worry about dying to. Like it's happened before, but it's not that likely. I could consider blocking with the Fumarole here. I'd still have up 3 mana. I'd still cast any one of my spells individually. I guess he doesn't even want to screw with that. That's a pretty good draw. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to just cast this right now. It's kind of bad if he has removal spell into Gideon. If he just has one or the other, I'm fine with this. But he hasn't done anything, which kind of leads me to believe that he's over sideboarded and has a bunch of counter spells in his deck now. So I'm going to go for it. This could end up working out poorly for me, but I do want to get... I do need to get card draw spells off. Radiant Flames is definitely a top, and then I'm just going to bottom this land. Rebuff is still okay. If I am right about him having a bunch of counter spells, rebuff is good. That's not really that big of a deal. I can actually just kill that. I guess I'm putting it to... I'm going to put it to 1. I could kill it if I really wanted to, but it's probably not worth it. And then I'm probably going to be able to rebuff something this turn and knock the Jace down to 1. Probably rebuff like a Spell Queller or whatever. Here. I'm not sure if there's any merit to intentionally doing this for less than 3. I don't think he can damage my guy at all. I'm just going to rebuff this. Then we're going to hit the Jace down to 1. And then we have Disintegration with an artifact in play. Actually, what works out really nicely is if he has Gideon, because then I can throw out a bait spell on the end of his turn and one of these Harness Lightnings, and then on my turn I can Disintegration the token, deal 3 to the Jace, and attack the Gideon with the Gear Hulk. He has Gisela the Broken Blade. I'm not sure why he's got that in his deck right now. I'm just going to Harness Lightning this. I guess if I Harness Lightning it, it's pretty weak to Stasis Snare. Alright, I'm going to untap instead. And then I'm going to start with Harness Lightning. If he has Avacyn, I'm gonna cast the Gear Hulk and rebuff. But it's pretty risky for him to cast Avacyn here. Also, this does factor into my decision making a little bit. A lot of the better players don't like playing blue-white because it is like really draw dependent. Like some of your draws are unbeatable and some of your draws can never win. And the really good players tend to shy away from decks like that, just because it doesn't. You're not benefited by being good at Magic when you play a deck that it is just entirely dependent on its draws. And this is kind of a blowout here. I'm killing the Jace too, and I've got 10 power into an empty board. I guess if he has Deck in Stone, that's pretty good. Thraben Inspector, not as much. Sack the clue, played an extra 3 of an inspector, sack the other clue. I'm gonna draw. I really, at this point, just want to draw like card drawing spells. And that's exactly what we draw, so that's nice. No reason not to just swing. I'm not going to activate Fumarole either. It would take both of my red sources to do that. And I have 3 red cards in my hand. Yeah, if we're just chunking him for 10 here, that's going to be close to game. Now a hit from a Gear Hulk and the disintegration is lethal. And he might just be scooping it up. Alright. Alright. So, nothing really changes from the play to the draw. On the draw is where you would board in rejection against Copter. Like I said, I don't really love doing that. I guess if he has Jace in his deck, I think I'm going to cut this Void Shatter and just bring in the negate. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I still have like a bunch of answers to Avacyn. And the key card in the matchup is Gideon. Something you'll find in control decks and standard these days is that the key cards are rarely in your deck. The key cards tend to be in your opponent's deck. And here, it's definitely Gideon. Avacyn can have like massive swinging impacts if you walk into it, but it's hard to walk into Avacyn if you're paying attention. So, but Gideon can just take over a game if it just resolves and it's like early in the game and you don't have a Gear Hulk in play. It's really hard to come back from those spots. But this is a configuration we're gonna run. Ugh. This hand is very marginal. There's some matchups where this hand is great. In this one, it's like really borderline. I'm sure that like half of the people that watch this are gonna be like snap mulligan, and the other half are gonna be like snap keep. I'm gonna mulligan though. I think it is close. Mulligans are bad, especially against this exact deck. But yeah, I think there's a mulligan. This hand is much worse, but it is a force keep on 6, and any 6-card hand that has lands in it is a hand that you keep with the Scry rule, I think. Maybe not in like some like whatever combo decks, but oh yeah. All right. Looking like it's probably a loss here. We could come back. We need to rattle off a lot of removal spells in a row though. If he has Copter and we don't draw Harness Lightning or Tears of Valakut, we're probably dead. Yep, there's the Copter. I'm gonna get Mountain. That's what makes sense to do. Ugh, yeah. Alright. We'll see what we can do. Man. Just got the perfect card for it, too. I'm gonna get Island here, mostly to bluff, because that's like when you have nothing going, bluffing makes a lot more sense. I don't normally worry about bluffing at all, and I think it's like bluffing cards in your hand. There's a difference. Like bluffing attacks and stuff sometimes makes sense in limited, but in constructed, it almost never makes sense to bluff in any kind of way. But in this exact situation where we have literal nothing, we have 5 lands and a draw spell. Oh, that's a good draw. That's a good draw. It does kind of make some sense. All right, we're going to Painful Truths. This is one of the only ways that we could catch up in this game. Radiant Flames is good. I'm going to discard Mountain. I'm going to discard Island. Yeah, the 3rd red source is also a part of any way that we're getting back into this game. And yeah, he's got Gideon. Yeah, alright. I doubt that we're going to be able to get back into this one. We just haven't cast anything. We cast nothing in the first 2 turns and then have nothing in hand still. We have a 1-for-1 removal spell. Yeah, if he has nothing. We're alive. If he crews. Alright. I guess I'm gonna Disintegration, the Selfless Spirit. If I let him go to his turn, this is just straight lethal. And, like, I can't disintegrate this because he just lets it die, and then I still am losing to the Selfless Spirit. But I don't think we have any outs here. Because we can't kill Gideon and Copter. And if he casts something this attacks lethal, he has something. I guess he's waffling back and forth on whether or not to cast it. I left up Mountain to represent Galvanic Bombard. If he had Selfless Spirit, that doesn't make sense. But I left out Mountain to bluff Galvanic Bombardment, which is a card that most of these decks play. Alright, I'm not gonna sit here anymore. No, that was a tough one. We mulliganed into a bad hand. I do think it was still a keep. Because I think that it's a lot more likely that we win if we just roll off a couple removal spells there than that we go to 5. I think that hand's a lot better than our average 5. Once you have a scry, I think most hands are better than your average 5 after you have a scry. Pretty much the only time I'm mulligan a 5 anymore, in limited or constructed, is if I have a no-lander. Just because your win percentage is effectively like 5-10% or something like that when you're on a 5-card hand, even if it's a great matchup. And that's not a great matchup. Like I said before, that's a pretty tough one. So we will get back in for another match and see if we can catch back up. We're at 1-1 now. I'm generally not happy with any kind of sort of 3-2 results and stuff. I really want to get 4-1s and 5-0s because that's where the money's at. So we'll be back for the next match.